Trey Gooch.
Shannon Hicks.
Nice to meet you, Shannon. You excited to be on this big old active
We'll see.
commission? Well,
We'll see.
I'm sure you do well. Everybody loves you.
I want to call to order the meeting of the Rutherford County Regional Planning Commission for February 9th, 2026. We'll ask that everyone please stand at this time, and we'll have our prayer and pledge of allegiance. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we're so thankful for the day that you've given us, for the beautiful sunshine, the warmer temperatures, and an opportunity for people to get out and take care of the problems from the storm. Father, we say a special prayer this evening for the husband of one of our commissioners, Ms. Charlotte P., her husband Joey, for the accident that he had, but we're asking that you give healing, that you be with that family and watch over them and protect them through this trial time that they have. Father, we are thankful for this county that we have, that we are responsible for at this time, that as we deal with these issues that deal with the land use in Rutherford County, that you give us the ability to do the right things. Father, we're so thankful for the many blessings that we have, but may we always remember that the blessings that we have and enjoy do come from you. Watch over and protect us. We offer this prayer in your Son's holy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Secretary, I ask that you do call the roll and termination of quorum.
Jason Beavers. Here. Lee Bogle.
Here.
Amber Brown. Here. Trey Gooch.
Here.
Shannon Hicks.
Here.
Mike Cush.
Present.
Charlotte P. Jeff Phillips. Michael Shirley.
Here.
Jim Thompson.
Here.
Pettis Reed.
Here.
We have a quorum.
We do have a quorum. Next item on business is election of a chairman and vice chairman for the calendar year 2026, and I believe I'll call on this time Mr. Trey Gooch, who is on that nominating committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Would like to show my appreciation first to Commissioner Mike Shirley and Charlotte P., who served on this committee with myself. I know that when we were first chosen that Doug said that it wouldn't take a lot of time, but we spent hours and hours and hours trying to find the best two people, and so we unanimously, and I'll give both of them at the same time, and we can vote it, that's okay. So our nominee for chairman is Pettis Reed, and for vice chair, Charlotte P.
Okay. You have heard the report from the nominating committee. Do we have a motion?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Well, on my behalf, I say thank you. I've had an opportunity to serve on this planning commission since 2010. I was thinking today about that I remember that phone call that Mayor Ernest Burgess called me early one morning and asking me to do this. And I thought it was probably the best opportunity that I'd had for a long time to serve back to the county. So I've been doing this a while. I've been a part of it. I've learned a lot. There's a lot of people don't understand what you do. You know, you're just not coming here. You will have the time, all of you that have served before, you understand what it's like that you have to go through training. You have to go through those classes at different times. That's required. And each time we meet here, we learn something a little bit different than what we're doing. But what I want to do tonight is recognize a new member that we have on the committee, Mr. Shannon Hicks back here, that has been added to us. I'm going to let Shannon introduce himself to you and tell a little bit about himself.
Thank you, sir. My name's Shannon Hicks. I am a builder here in Rutherford County. Been here building for right at 30 years. Specialize in custom work, just a small family business. I heard about this opportunity to serve, and as my wife put it, you fuss enough, go. So I'm here. Doug and Mike have to put up with me even more now. I want to be fair to people. I want to be fair to the community and try to give back.
Appreciate you having the willingness to do so and returning that back. Tell you something I know about Shannon. Shannon, I see him down here on weekends. I have a grandson down here at One Shot, and he's out there with those children all the time. And it's a great place with the baseball and basketball. I was down there Saturday, and whenever they try to show them something to do, if they don't do exactly right, they have to do push-ups. And he come over and said something to me. I said, all I ask is you don't ask me to do push-ups. And but that has to be rewarding working with those young children. But appreciate you being here on the commission with us. We'll now go into the approval of our minutes for December 8th, 2025, and January 12th, 2026. I'm going to ask that the former vice chairman take care of that for us.
Well, I want to take just the opportunity, just a moment to say that it's been a real opportunity and a privilege to be able to serve as the vice chair for the past couple of years. I'm still going to remain a member of this commission and hopefully a contributing member. And it's just a lot of scheduling conflicts this year that I already see on the calendar. And just I'm a firm believer that the vice chair and chair should be at most of the meetings to represent. And I know that you all will continue to do that as well. And so thank you for that opportunity. So with that, the minutes for the December 8th and January 12th meetings have been reviewed and they are in good order. Therefore, I make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve those minutes. I have a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Those minutes have been approved. All right. We'll move now into public comment period. Do we have anyone?
No, sir. No one signed up.
No one for public comment. Items which are on or deferred?
No, sir. The agenda you have before you is accurate.
All right, we'll move right on into our new business, which starting with item A, submitted for our preliminary plan approval. Item 1 is Mockingbird Estates Amendment 241002, 25 lots, 23 single-family lots, 2 townhome lots on 20.21 acres, zone PUD, located at the intersection of Lascassas Pike and Mockingbird Lane. Procco 1000 LLC is the applicant. Mr. DeMasi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. As you know, due to the cancellation of our last meeting, we're kind of doing 2 meetings in one tonight. We've got all the plats and plans that were supposed to have been back on the January 26th meeting, and we have our 2 rezonings. So we're going to go ahead and get these plats and plans out of the way. First one is, as Mr. Chairman Reed stated, the preliminary plan amendment for Mockingbird Estates. This preliminary plan was approved originally by the Planning Commission back in July of 2024. A PUD amendment changing the number of allowable bedrooms, building placement for some of the townhome units, and that's due to a drainage easement concern that was going through the step field and some other things. So some of the buildings had to be moved around just a little bit. Also, access to the property was also discussed, was approved by the Board of Commissioners for the pattern book back in October of last year. Regarding the access, one of the entrances, as you'll recall, along Mockingbird Lane was removed in favor of a proposed connection to the northwest, which would allow eventual access to Compton Road. So the total number of units has not changed. This is pretty much the same. It's just some of the changes that needed to be made, especially with the access roads to the level of needing an amendment to the pattern book, which in turn needed an amendment to the preliminary plan. Any comments? I think most of the comments that we've had at this point have been addressed. With that, we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have on this.
Commissioners, comments or questions for staff?
And just to add, you will see the site plan for the townhomes when they come along.
Yeah, this will just be approving the lots themselves that they'll be sitting on, not the actual units. So Mike's correct.
I move to approve with staff comments.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? It has been approved. Item B, submitted for final plat approval. Item 1, Hickey Subdivision, 24-2039, 3 lots on 6.56 acres, zoned RL, located along Craddock Road. Clayton Hickey is the applicant, includes a request for an off-site soil waiver. Mr. Demasi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. As you stated, this property is located along Craddock Road. They are looking to divide this property into 3 lots. Lot 3, as you can see on the plat, both on your iPad and on the screen, will contain the existing house. Lots 1 and 2 both do have road frontage, so we're not relying on any easements for access on this particular plat. However, the septic soil for Lot 3, as you can see, there's an easement there, will be on Lot 2. And there's a little verbiage there. There's a small easement for the soils on Lot 2 for Lot 3. Mike's kind of highlighting that area right there. Our comments have been addressed on this. The only reason this is coming before you is because of that easement right through there that Mike highlighted. So with that, all of our other comments have been addressed, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Commissioners? Any questions, comments?
Doug, if everything's in order, I'll make a motion to approve.
Have a motion to approve and a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed? It has been approved. Moving to item 2 is Newman Subdivision, 25-2090, 2 lots on 3.61 acres, zoned RM, located along North Lamar Road. James and Lisa Newman are the applicants, includes waiver for the creation of a lot less than 5 acres located off a private easement. Mr. Demasi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. This might look familiar to most of you. It has been a little bit since we've seen this, but the Plan Commission did grant a waiver for the request that he's asking for the lot of less than 5 acres off a private easement. That was back in April of last year. So this plat comes as a result of that waiver approval. The applicant does own the subject property as well as a property immediately to the north at 3697 North Lamar. Track 1 will be a flag lot, and Track 2 will be accessed via the 50-foot access easement, which is the one that's less than 5 acres. Most of our comments have been addressed. Again, this appears to be in good order. Once again, the only reason this is coming before you is because of the need for the waiver request. With that, we'll be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner, so you've seen the plat. Is there any other questions or comments?
Move to approve with staff comments.
Motion approved, staff comments. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Item 3, the Estate of Clarence Welborn, 25-2092, 2 lots on 10.21 acres, zoned RL, located along Overall Road. Kanze Subdivision is the applicant, includes a fire hydrant waiver request. Mr. Demasi.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The applicant's proposing to shift lot lines between these 2 properties. As they currently exist, they are both greater than 5 acres, and they both have houses on them. They were both created by deed some time ago. A portion of Lot 2, and Mike's kind of highlighting the area, will be conveyed to Lot 1, which in turn is going to make Lot 2 just a little bit less than 5 acres. State law does classify any division of property less than 5 acres as a subdivision, so Lot 2 would have to be in compliance with our subdivision regulations. One of those is the fire hydrant distance. There's not a fire hydrant currently within 1,000 feet of either property. However, the line out in that area can support one. However, the applicant is asking for a waiver to that provision as no new lots are being created. Frankly, the only reason this is becoming an issue is the fact that they're shifting the lot lines. Nothing is changing here. This isn't a creation of new lots or anything like that. It's going to be 2 houses to begin with. It's going to be 2 houses when it's over, regardless of the outcome of this. So we told the applicant, historically, if there's a fire hydrant that can be supported, the Planning Commission will say, yes, you need to put it in. This is a little bit of a different situation, like I said, because nothing is really changing. We're not creating lots here. So with that, again, everything else with this plat is in order. It's really just this one issue that we're bringing before you tonight. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. DeMasi?
Doug, the reason it's coming to us is because of the waiver.
Correct.
That's the waiver.
That's the only reason.
Staff's recommendation.
Well, like I said, I think if this were creating a new lot, I'd probably feel more strongly about it than I do, since it's just shifting a lot line, and again, you're not creating new lots, you're still going to have two houses, nothing's changing. I don't have as great a concern with that.
Move to approve with staff comments.
Motion to approve. Second.
One question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Did either of these houses have to get a waiver to be built initially?
Well, no, they're over 5 acres, so they wouldn't qualify as
Oh, gotcha,
subdivisions. Right.
I think we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It has been approved. Item 4, Kanze Subdivision, 26201, 11 lots on 12.4 acres, zoned RM, located along Kingwood Lane. William M. Kanze is the applicant. Mr. DeMasi.
Yes, sir, thank you. The preliminary plan for this development was approved by the Planning Commission back in October of 2022. This plat that you're seeing before you tonight is generally consistent with that plan. There have been a few changes to it. The existing house on the property, which originally was going to be retained, is no longer going to be. They're going to remove the house. The plat also shows a reduction of one lot as compared to the approved preliminary plan, mostly due to making the lots bigger due to the removal of the house. Neither of those changes rose to the level of a major deviation according to our county's subdivision regulations, so a planning commission action was not required. There are still a few comments that need to be addressed on this. I think from our standpoint, looking at it from a planning and zoning standpoint, it's in order. Pretty much anything else that would be outstanding at this point, we'll just make sure is resolved before it's recorded. So with that, we'll be happy to answer questions. Mike, did you have anything on this one? Okay.
Questions anyone may have?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Doug, if a motion to approve with staff comments will give you the needed
Yes.
verbiage to
Yes.
get everything else?
Yes, sir.
answered?
Typically, what we've been doing after Planning Commission, we'll send out post-Planning Commission comments if there's any comments that still need to be resolved, and we make sure that those are resolved before it's recorded.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I'll move to approve with staff comments.
Motion to approve. We have a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? It has been approved. Moving into Section C, submitted for site plan approval. Item 1 is Fox Camp Commercial Site, 253004, new construction of approximately 24,000 square feet of general retail, office, and construction sales and services space on approximately 5.2 acres, Zone CS, located along Bradeville Pike. Swanson Developments is the applicant. Mr. DeMasi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. I will call your attention, if you try to see the site plan on your iPads, you're going to get the comments that we sent out, and I apologize for that. I grabbed what I thought was the plan and uploaded the wrong thing, so my apologies. Mike's got the plan actually on the big screens that we can look at, which is helpful at the same time because this is the plan review software that we use, and you can see some of the comments and things, how we call things out, the little bubbles and then the little text boxes with arrows and everything. Those are some of the tools that we use, and that's what the applicant and their design engineers get when we send the comments to them as well. For Fox Camp Commercial, this property was approved, the zoning of the property was approved by the Board of Commissioners back in October of 2023. The applicant is proposing, as you can see, to construct one building, which will be divided into several tenants. There are turn lane improvements included with this. Originally, it was just going to be a right turn lane, but after TDOT took a look at it, they also wanted to see a left turn lane coming from, I guess that'd be the southeast, going to the northwest. So you can see that as part of the plan, that there are turn lanes in both directions. Frankly, that was one of the reasons this plan took so long to get to you. We've had this in the hopper for quite some time, but the applicant's been working with TDOT trying to get everything approved and approved by them. We did review this plan. We did send our comments to the applicant's design engineer. Most of the comments that we have been addressed. You see there's a few outstanding things here and there. Similar to the the final plat that we just considered, if you were to make an approval subject to staff comments, that'll get us time for them to get these items addressed before the pre-construction meeting that they have and then eventual building permits. I'll turn it over to Mike if he had any comments on that.
No, like Doug said, we have been working with TDOT. There's a few minor things that they need to revise for TDOT, but all in all, it's in good order. Good order.
Commissioners?
I'll move that we approve with staff comments.
Motion to approve. And a second. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? It has been approved. Moving now to Section D, rezoning and zoning ordinance amendment request. All rezoning and regulation amendment requests will be considered at the March 12th, 2026 Board of Commissioners meeting unless deferred or withdrawn by the Planning Commission or the applicant. Starting first with item 1, Matt Taylor for Russel Ranch, LLC, REZ 26002. Location is 1097 OB Franklin Road. Commissioner District 9 is Joshua James. Size of the site is approximately 3.8 acres. Tax map 95, parcel 3401. Existing zoning is light industrial LI. Proposed zoning is planned unit development. Mr. DeMasi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. And I will also say on this particular item, this must not have been a very good day when I was putting the agenda together, because not only did I put the wrong plan into your iPads, I've got the order of the staff reports incorrect for these two zonings. The agenda, as Mr. Chairman just read, is correct, but the reports are backwards in your packet, so I apologize for that. So just kind of skim past the next one, Ms. Krueger's application for right now, and you'll get to Mr. Taylor's application for Russel Ranch. So I apologize for that. For this application, the applicant intends to rezone this property from light industrial to PUD, planned unit development, for a self-storage facility. These facilities are allowed by right already in the light industrial zone. However, the applicant would like additional lot coverage than is allowed in the light industrial. Their proposal is looking at about 69% versus 50%. For non-residential development, we count any non-pervious areas as well as the buildings themselves to come up with the lot coverage calculation. That's different than we do for residential, where we just count the structures. So that's really the primary change of what they're asking for. There is a concept plan that you'll find included with the pattern book. Those are both on your iPads as well. The plan shows about 62,000 square feet of building space. This would include a kiosk-like area for a self-service computer/tablet. The facility will be gated and screened with a combination of landscaping and fencing. They'll also use the backs of the buildings as part of the screen, which our regulations do allow. Hours of operation are to be from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. with access to the property not allowed outside of those hours. Page 14 of the pattern book does show proposed access to the subject properties. Franklin Road is a state road, so TDOT approval will be required for any new or improved access points. TDOT may require additional traffic improvements such as turn lanes. Traffic study has not been completed at this time. We could require one. Something like this probably would just rise to the level of an access report, if anything. However, I will say that an engineered site plan will be required prior to the development of this site, so you will get another chance to look at this should this application be approved. Non-residential PUDs do not require open space. However, they are showing buffering, which is required. You can kind of see that on the plan that Mike has up right there on the screen, as well as on your iPads if you want to look at it there. They are showing a 25-foot Type 3 buffer along the eastern and northern property lines, which utilizes a 6-foot privacy fence and plantings. The property to the west is zoned light industrial, so there are no buffering requirements on that side, and our performance standards would also apply. As we stated, this is a use by right in the light industrial zone. They are asking for planned development to allow for additional lot coverage. The most common zone that we see these uses in isn't so much the industrial zone, it's really more the commercial zones. Commercial services does allow for a 60% lot coverage. Commercial general requires a special exception as well, but also allows a 70%. So they're asking for something kind of what would be allowed really in the heavier commercial zones. So we do feel the request is reasonable, and we do recommend approval. With that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. Mr. Taylor and the applicant are present.
Mr. Chairman. Doug, can you just clarify a couple of things for me and for the record? So when we change the zoning from light industrial to planned unit development, if this property owner sells and they decide that they want to use this property for something else, they would have to come back for a change to the PUD, correct?
That's correct.
So it will remain a storage unit facility, and the only way it could change from that is if it comes back before planning.
That's correct.
Thank you. Mike, do you feel, is the driveway surface going to be, it's dust, it says dustless, but is it going to be impervious, or is it going to be?
It'll have to be a paved surface.
So, but it's
Asphalt or concrete, yeah.
So engineering will ensure that that retention pond is big enough to
Yes.
collect all the water and store it properly.
Exactly. Yes, sir.
If that, where does it drain from there?
Goes to a big sinkhole to the northwest.
Because we're basically covering up just about this whole entire lot.
Right. So we consider this a volume-sensitive area, so they have to look at the volume of stormwater, the additional volume that they're creating, and essentially hold it back. So let me find the contours.
Just looking at the Google Earth before, like when I was getting ready for this meeting, it looks like it's pretty rocky right there. So in that kind of a case, how does that pond work? How does that retention area work? Do they, because it doesn't seem like to me that it would go anywhere because it's going to be in a rock.
Right.
So they would have to blast or dig down somehow to make it hold, but it's not going to slowly leak out. Well, I mean, maybe it can right there,
Right.
but
They hold back the additional volume and then slowly release it through a metered outlet pipe, weir, or something. We haven't seen the plan yet, so that's essentially what it would be. So you see these concentric circles, that's a large sinkhole that it's heading towards.
thank you.
Commissioner?
Hey, Mike, they will be blasting I'm assuming they'll have to blast the detention area.
Yes.
Well, I mean, once they do the blasting, it's going to create little crevices and it'll drain really well.
Oh, yes.
Probably better than it does now.
Good chance, yes.
Anyone else? If not, I'll ask that the representative for this come forward. Mr. Matt Taylor. Evening, sir.
Thank you, Chairman. Matt Taylor of SEC, 850 Middle Tennessee Boulevard here in Murfreesboro. I've also got my clients back here with me as well. Doug did a good job going over the project. As he said, it is a use by right. We're just looking for a little more square footage on the site by giving up some control or other options. We have had a meeting with TDOT already. They were good with the proposed location of this access drive. Matter of fact, I think we had it further to the east maybe, and they had us move it to the west, trying to help some site distance stuff right there. So as Doug said, we're going to fully encapsulate the site essentially with our building walls, and then we'll have landscaping on the north and the east outside of those walls. As far as stormwater goes, those calculations are going to dictate how big that is. So if that area needs to grow, it will grow when we do the construction plan. So it's our best guess right now, but if it needs to grow, it absolutely will. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Taylor?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. At this time, I'm going to open it up for comments. from individuals. We'll ask that anyone that have any questions concerning this or any comments, that we ask that you come forward and make your statement either for or against this development. And you'll see that there are up here a timer. We'll give you 3 minutes to make your comment. You'll notice there's green, yellow, and red lights, mean the same thing that you have out here on the highway. Green, you start; yellow, you slow down; red, you stop. So we'll ask that anyone has comments to make at this time to come forward at this time and make those comments. Anyone? Well, I don't see a huge crowd coming forward this time, so I'm closing the comment period. Commissioners, it's your go.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve with staff comments.
Second.
You've heard the motion. Any further comments? Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Jason Beavers. Yes. Lee Bogle.
Yes.
Amber Brown. Yes. Trey Gooch.
Yes.
Shannon Hicks. Yes. Mike Cush.
Yes.
Jeff Phillips.
Yes.
Michael Shirley.
Yes.
Jim Thompson.
Yes.
Pettis Reed.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Motion does carry. Moving to item 2, Bev Krueger, REZ 25018, location is 8455 Franklin Road. Commissioner District 19, Romeo McMurray is the commissioner. Size of sites approximately 10 acres. Tax map is 94, parcel 60. Existing zoning is planned unit development. Proposed zoning is a PUD amendment. Mr. DeMasi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. The rezoning for this property, which is at 8455 Franklin Road, was originally approved by the Board of Commissioners back in November of 2016. This property has since developed in multiple phases, most recent of which was approved by the Planning Commission back in 2021. Permits for the most recent phase were issued in August of 2022. The applicant is proposing to amend their original plan development to add an office, additional storage buildings, and also surface parking storage on the existing property. You can kind of see that. Mike, can you back up just real quick? Yeah, on that, that's the existing facility right now as it exists today. So we'll go ahead and go to the site plan now. Thank you, Mike. So what they are proposing, let's a little further. There we go. What they're proposing here, you can kind of see with buildings B and C, would be removal of the existing house and then construction of either climate-controlled or non-climate controlled. They haven't decided at this point. We discussed that during the review process and basically just told them you can kind of leave it up to you. If you want to, fine. If you don't, it doesn't really matter to us one way or the other. So what you can see here is that's the primary change, one of them, and then you can see that they're adding some areas there, as I stated, for vehicle, RV, boat parking, and those kind of things. Page 16, well, at least the original page 16, this is written before they made a few changes. Development standards show the applicant would like to reduce the rear setback from 20 feet to 10 feet to allow for the vehicle parking along the southern property line. Parking areas are only required to provide a 7.5-foot landscape area, however, but there are no buildings proposed for this area. The chart Mike has up there right now, you can kind of see some of the changes that they're asking for. They've compared this to a commercial neighborhood type zone as far as zoning is concerned. Again, we don't typically see these in CN. We do sometimes, most of the time, see them in CS. CN, they are allowed by special exception. It's not that you're not allowed to have them, but you can kind of see the setbacks they're proposing. They're more akin to what you would see in commercial services, with the exception of that minimum rear setback. You can see they're asking for a 10-foot difference in that area. Maximum height would not change and stay at 35 feet. I will say with the parking spaces, we do have parking regulations for many warehouse-type facilities. However, we're more concerned about that on the front, just to make sure there's some parking if there's an office there, just allow for customer parking. Most of the parking that we require for something like this, we handle internally. Folks that come into here to utilize the center are going to drive to their unit, they're going to drop their stuff off or pick their stuff up, and then they're going to leave. There really isn't the need for any further customer parking beyond that, except for enough for employees and maybe a few spaces for a couple customers that just come in to the main office. So what they're showing as far as the parking requirements are concerned, I don't really have any particular issue with. Access to the existing business will remain the same. The applicant has held meetings with staff and TDOT. It doesn't appear that any changes are going to be needed to the existing access drive. The concept plan does show, again, we discussed additional paved area for the vehicle and boat and RV storage. The landscaping is a little further in the pattern book. It does show the proposed buffering. Type 2 buffer is typically required between commercially and residentially zoned property. The pattern book is a little vague on these details as far as the proposed buffer is concerned. Some of this, they want to use the backs of the building, kind of like we discussed with the last application, which again is allowed. However, you might want to have some more discussion regarding that southern property line, and I'll let the applicant and their representatives speak a little bit more to that. Our performance standards would also apply. I will say that lighting is a concern, I know, to the area, especially those folks that live behind it off of Baltimore Road and Deer Run. I did have a conversation with one of the gentlemen who lives in the area this morning. I think that was his primary concern with that. I just want to let you know, we haven't got a lot of phone calls about it, but I did receive one this morning, and that was some of their concerns that they have. So we did send several comments to their design consultant. The pattern book that you have on your iPads and the one that we've been looking at is the revised copy. The changes proposed are relatively modest. At one time, they were actually looking to use the lot across Baltimore Road. We had a lot of discussions about that. Ultimately, they decided not to use that. They're just going to make the changes onto the existing property itself. So with that, again, the applicant is present, as is their design consultant. So we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have at this time.
Commissioners, are there questions? We're not taking comments right now. This is for Commissioner.
That's the applicant. Just so you know.
Mr. Chairman, I have a question.
Just a second.
What will the site, if you go down Deer Run, Mike, like how much taller will the proposed building be than that house, and will they be able to see it from the people that live back down Deer Run?
Yeah, the applicant could probably speak a little bit more as far as a total height for what they want. Now, most of the, like I said, the development right there, what they're showing is going to be more internal to the site. There is an existing building on kind of backs up to Deer Run in that area. That will probably, I would guess, block a lot of any visual change that might be going on into the site. You'll see that there are some landscaping. They did plant some trees there. I think part of the concern with the reduced buffer is just the fact that there's a lot of rock on that site, and it's difficult to get any trees to survive, quite frankly. I think that was one of the concerns that they had. But as far as the overall height of the building, I'll let the applicant speak to that.
So the existing house is 2 stories right now?
Benny, wait until it's your turn.
It looks like the landscaping in the back has survived the first round, so.
Well, some of that, now I will say, yeah, on their side of the fence, I will say that a lot of those trees on the other side of the fence, that thicker buffer right there is actually on adjacent property. The owner of that property planted like 2 or 3 rows of trees in that. So that's not the applicant's.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Commissioners, other questions? I'll ask that the applicant come forward at this time.
Benny Pandor for the P&R Consulting Group, representing Bev Krueger as our client, the owner and operator of Murfreesboro Storage. And as you can see, it's amendment to an existing PUD. As Doug stated, there's no changes to the ins or outs of the site. They're simply removing a house that they currently live on, and in roughly the area of that existing house, they're providing either 2 new storage buildings. They're actually connected, but we're calling them 2 because they could phase it if they need to. That's really the extent of it, plus some parking near the back, angled parking, and some parallel parking at the rear of the property. So,
questions for the applicant? Commissioners?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As far as the lighting concerns, is it the kind of lights that kind of face down, point down, or shine all over?
It's cut-off lighting facing down, yes. And also, to answer the previous question, the existing house is 2 stories tall. The new structures would be shorter than that.
So the parallel and angled parking on the one side, will that be for RV and boat slips?
RV, boat, cars, trucks.
Okay. And it's not, it won't be covered, it's just open
They
open
have
to
an
the elements?
option, they're leaving it open as an option to cover some of it.
Okay.
Is that stated in the pattern book, Benny? I didn't remember seeing that. Was that in the pattern
Covered
book?
parking.
The covered parking, was that in there?
I believe we addressed it in there. If not, we can.
Okay, yeah, if that's the case, I mean, again, that's fine. I didn't recall seeing that, but I could have read over it. As far as the lighting is concerned, Benny, I appreciate what you're talking about. Can you kind of, looking at the site plan there, where would you anticipate the lighting be? And you kind of go into that a little bit on some of the other plan development pages in the pattern book, but where are you anticipating lights in, like with the new building and everything, where would you anticipate the lighting being?
So on the new buildings, there'll be the cutoff lighting,
Right,
wall packs type of lighting up there.
just along the face, along that southern face, I guess, along B and C,
Yeah.
that southern facing.
Yes.
All lighting will primarily be either at an access point or about 8 to 12 feet above the ground. What we're trying to do is light the drive lanes, not the community.
Okay.
One thing, the instructions that Doug did, and it was a change that we made at the last minute.
Can you step up closer to the microphone, please?
One of the things that Doug had said was that we wanted tall evergreens. That is in fact not correct. That was a misunderstanding on our part, and we gave it to him late, and so he didn't change that. But what we're asking for on our landscaping is that it be some kind of bushes or something that can survive the rock base, because we've planted trees and they end up dying, and we've replaced some of them 3 times.
Let me ask you this. And I keep, being I'm in this business, I bring it up all the time about the need, and I see one going up, we just approved site plan for you. You got a beautiful place out there. What's your occupancy rating right there to give an idea of what the demand is for storage? What's your occupancy out there?
Are you talking about at the current moment or overall?
No,
The current moment, we're about 96%. Last year, we were 100% most of the year.
Yeah, I keep saying that, and then on the trees, I live in Rockville, and I got one of these. I don't have a single bush that's remained since the time that I was approved for the site. They're all gone. They can't withstand. Your bushes probably won't make it out there. I've sent Doug a note this afternoon about an exception on trees, especially with this last ice storm. I was required to put trees out near the road. They've been trimmed one time in the last 5 years, and I got pictures. I'm going to share with everybody here when we're done what we're creating ourselves with some of the vegetation when we're putting stuff out. Matt could probably speak to that very well as well on these site plans. What just happened in Nashville, we're setting ourselves up when we require trees that'll grow 35 and 40 foot tall between the wires and our buildings. And I've got a situation now, I'd like to go cut all my trees down because they're too tall, and when MTE comes out, they're going to trim them again. I'm about scheduled this year or next again. So I understand the pain, and a lot of times when we do the site plans, they look good to plant them, but if you plant them on rock, it's a waste of time and money, and I don't know what the fix is to that. Matt and some of the horticulturalists, I guess, need to get together on that, but it's a real issue. Thank you.
I can agree with that. The Ag Department has told us, you're wasting your money, and we said we have to do it. So we've been doing it, but it's a waste. I'd like to speak to that as well, and I really appreciate Doug and everyone here, but I would like you all to consider, we are a storage unit. No one inside our unit cares about what it looks like in the back. And we are required to put plantings along that wood fence because that's code. And we will comply. But I can tell you that those plantings do nothing for the facility. They do nothing for the neighborhood. And it would be great if we didn't have to do that. That's a wood fence. I want to keep it dry and clean. And by planting along there, we are going to end up with a rotted fence. and I would love to see that completely eliminated in the back. But Doug has expressed that that's part of the code, and we will comply if we need to, but it would be great if we didn't have to. Thank you. Inside our side of the fence, absolutely.
Ma'am, how would you address a neighbor behind you if you don't have some landscaping or buffer, as we call it?
The neighbor to the west of us, the one who called Doug this morning, if you can scoot over, let's see. Yeah, you can see that there's a tree buffer there. Most of those trees are about, 30, 40 feet high. He can't see into it. He's also, we have the fence, which is over 6 feet. The neighbor behind us is commercial. He too cannot see in. You're talking about a 6-foot fence and 10 feet. You can't see it. The only people that see it are inside the facility. I think we spent $24,000 doing the last amount of landscaping, and it's just good money after bad.
Other questions? If not, thank you. Appreciate it. We'll now open it up for the public comment period where someone, if you have either a statement to make either for or against this particular position here or a development, would ask that you would come forward this time, either for or against. You'll have 3 minutes, as I've explained before, and I'll ask that you do so. Please give us your name so we'll know who it is. Come forward, stand here, and address the commission.
Yes, my name is Mike Bird. I have a couple pieces of property on Baltimore Road. Doug, I was curious. It says that it's 10 acres, but I think it's only 5 acres, correct?
I believe the application originally was for the entire acreage, but it's only for that portion where she's not doing that other lot on Baltimore Road.
Separate?
Is what?
Is that other lot separate? 'Cause
That's
it's only 5 acres where they're at, right?
right. The only thing we're talking about is that acreage that Mike has identified right there, where the existing facility is, not changing any other zoning.
So what's the pervious on that?
I don't have a number for that right off the top of my head. Sorry.
Okay, because I know increasing that footage of the house and that is going to be a lot. I know when it first came through, it was 9 total acres, and then it got cut off. That was left, and they just did the 5. Nobody cared about that over there at all. But it says on the application 10 acres, and I know that's only 5 acres, so I don't know.
I think what happened originally, the staff report says 5. I think what happened is this was originally a 10-acre, the whole property, including that little, what they call the goat lot, was 10 acres, but they're only looking at this 5 right here. So you're correct, that should just say 5 acres on the application.
And then is the house listed as a 2-story? Because I believe it's a 1-story in the basement. I don't know how they're going to build 2 stories back to that same height.
Yeah, well, it's listed as a 1-story based on the tax rolls. Now, I want to say there's a basement to it or something like that.
Yeah, there's 1 story in a basement, so it's not a 2-story. Okay. Because it's just going to be hard to get that same height back out of it.
Sir, are you either for or against, or want to make some comments?
I'm just trying to get all my ducks in a row to make sure that we're looking at the right stuff. I'm not really for it. I just want to make sure that they understand that, it says 10, it's 5.
Can you
It's 2 stories, 1
kind
story.
of speak into the microphone there? We can't hear what you're saying.
It says it's 10 acres and it's 5. It says a 2-story and it's really a 1-story in a basement. So I'm just trying to get the facts straight before I make up my mind. But thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Next.
Good evening. My name is Todd Helms. My wife and I own the property at 102 Deer Run, as well as the property at 145 Baltimore Road. Both of these pieces of property neighbor Murfreesboro storage unit. So we we have the most to gain, lose, if you will, with respect to further development. We built our dream home in 19. Shortly thereafter, these units were built. Although I have a very amicable relationship with Bev and her husband, Joe, this is very concerning for my wife and I. Doug, if you could bring up the, I didn't, and I apologize, I don't have a presentation ready. However, on the pictures, Doug, if you could bring those up where we could see the plan view of my property, please. Yeah, if you could zoom in on that, that would be great. So, first of all, I want to say that the soil in this area is outstanding. I have 45 Leland cypress trees that I planted. Not 1, 2, but 3 rows, just to provide some form of shelter from the light. Whether you put downward lights or outward facing, it's still going to exude a fair amount of light. I even bought a light meter to ensure that it didn't exceed. When you walk out of our back porch, it looks like Wrigley Field. The trees that I've planted, not only are they prospering, they're 20 to 25 feet tall. I also dug a pool in my backyard. I didn't hit a rock larger than a softball. So the trees and the vertical height of the trees do provide some shelter from the light and the additional light that is going to come from the new building. And yes, that is a big concern of mine because it has to do with just the quality of like I said, we built our forever home. This is very important to us. And anything that can be done to minimize not only the light, be it greenery, or the location of the lights in which they're placed would be very most appreciated. I mean, this is the type of stuff that keeps me up at night. And as you can see, if you'll zoom in there, Doug, if you don't mind, please. I mean, I planted, well, on the tree side. So I planted the 3 rows just to have some redundancy. That's how big of a concern it is. We're not planning on going anywhere. We're staying here. Whereas from a commercial standpoint, the interest of the owner is to prosper from a financial standpoint and then relocate. We're going to be here for another 20, 25 years, God willing. So I appreciate your attention and consideration to this matter. It is something that is very important to myself, my wife, as well as the neighbors around us. We have a beautiful place. We would like to keep it that way.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
you. Next, anyone else? I don't believe I see anyone else, so we'll close the comment period. Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Doug, Mike, help me understand. I think what I interpreted or what I imagined the applicant meant is that the new building won't be taller than the peak of the other building. Is that?
Well, I mean, that's.
Do we have any? We don't have any. We don't have a, like, this is a concept, a change to the PUD, but it's not an actual, we don't know exactly how tall the building is.
I don't have a dimension for us how tall the building is going to be. They have not asked for any kind of a variance to that as part of their development intentions. Now, as far as what he meant, I think what you're saying is reasonable, but I'd like to hear that from the applicant's mouth, not me saying I think that's what they meant, and they're like, no, 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 you know what I mean? So.
Is it, Mr. Chairman, is it, may we bring the applicant back up to the podium for her additional questions?
We can. Need you to come forward and answer questions for you, the commission.
The microphone at the podium is very good at directional speaking, so like if you all can aim towards that, we can hear. So we've heard some concerns. I share the concerns. I hear the applicant, what you were talking about, getting your trees to grow. I understand that could be an issue. From what I gathered from the neighbors, light and site pictures, because that is stop right there, Mike, please. Thank you. That is that is a 2-story house to me. So is the new building that you're proposing going to be equal in height to their house?
No, it will not be higher than the peak of the existing house. No.
Okay. So the maximum height of the building you're proposing is not going to be any higher than what is currently at the peak of that house?
That's correct.
Okay. And that's going to be a two-story, your proposed building is a one-story or two-story? Like,
We haven't defined it, but it won't be
okay,
higher than
it won't be
that.
higher than that?
Yes.
Okay. And then the lighting issues, let me go to, Mike, can you go to the page 11? Right there. On Building B and Building C that you're proposing there, those are the two new buildings, correct?
Correct.
And talk to me about the lighting in the back. I know you said they were going to be down in the back, because that's just for security. Is that a requirement by codes that they would have lighting back there?
It's not really a requirement from a code standpoint. There's nothing in the zoning ordinance that would say they have to have the lighting there. I think they want it there for, like you said, security purposes.
I
but
thought
that's
maybe
not
that there was like, anytime we had a people door, we had to have a security light above it.
No, like I said, no, yeah, if you're,
A door and
Tanya
a
might
door.
know more about that. Yeah.
Okay. Can you speak to the neighbors' concerns about additional light pollution, if you want to call it that, in the area?
I don't think that the light pollution it can be completely mitigated no matter where you go. But the only doors that will be there are, there'll be some in the back. There will, and I'm sorry. There will be some lights on the doors. We can certainly put shields over the doors. And I believe in the pattern book, there is a photo of a downward shield. And we've done that. Todd has been appreciative that we even replaced some that we weren't required to do. And we definitely want to continue with that vein. Downward shields over the doors and the entries would probably be the thing that he would need, and we can do that. As a matter of fact, we already have that in some renderings.
While you up there, look, stop it right there. That's a good spot too. He's mentioned his trees as well. I know from I'm an electrician, retired, so lighting's not an issue. You can handle that. Matt's got people design that downward lighting and hold it to a bare minimum. I would rather have those than those wall packs, because if you get wall packs, your neighbor's not going to be happy with you. But the trees, let's go back to those trees. He's got a good stand of vegetation there. That's not what I have in Rockville, Tennessee. They call us Rockville for a reason. Is there an issue with planting more if you have that kind of soil to accommodate the neighbor? You know what I'm saying?
Are you talking about Todd planning more or us?
I think he's looking at being at your development. He's going to say, can you put some trees up?
That particular picture is quite old. He has trees that are 30 feet there now, at least.
Okay. What I'm getting at, though, my concern is when the soil's rock and they want me to put something that's going to survive. He's got pretty good stand on this side. Do you have the ability to do more planting like that as far as dirt? Not dirt, I call it soil. There's a difference. You got something that'll survive?
That particular side of the fence, there is some soil, and that's good. We've got karst on the other side that's very shallow. We've had to break rock and things. But yes, you could plant some things there. But again, it's a wooden fence, and we want to keep it as dry as we can. So we don't want to plant a lot of things that are tall against a wooden fence. It will cause the fence to rot.
Okay.
Other questions? No, sir. It has come from here. Okay, thank you. Commissioners?
Are we able to specify that that the new, or the proposed building wouldn't exceed the height of what is there?
Yes, since it's a planned development, I think you can include that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me. Mr. DeMasi, could you, I would like to address the issue of the trees inside the fence. So it's part of our codes that inside of that fence, they plant trees?
Well, the code really is silent as far as where the trees, it can be on the inside or the outside. This is the way they chose to do it. I mean, from our standpoint, what the requirement is at a certain distance it has to be. They have a fence, so they're allowed a reduction as far as the size, the width of the buffer, if you will. A type 2 normally is 30 feet without a fence. It can be 15 if it does have a privacy fence like that. You can have the plantings on the inside of the fence. You can have them on the outside of the fence. It really doesn't matter to us as far as that goes.
Does the privacy fence not count as a buffering or?
I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
Okay, so the privacy fence that they already have up, they're not wanting to put trees inside the fence. So is the privacy fence considered a buffering? Or?
It can be part of it. Now, the way that, I see what you're asking, the way our code is structured, if you don't have a fence, you're required to have more plantings. If you have a fence, a privacy fence like this, you're still required to have plantings, but the amount is cut in half as far as trees, and you don't have to plant any shrubs. Normal buffering requirements require so many trees and so many shrubs per 100 linear feet. If you put up a privacy fence, you're able to, again, eliminate the shrubs and cut the amount of trees in half. So you're still required, the fence by itself is not enough when it comes to our buffering requirements. It's not an either or, it's a both.
Is that a buffering requirement from the outside looking in or the inside looking out or both?
Again, as far as where the trees are, it doesn't really matter. It's the 15 or 20 or 30 feet, whatever it is measured from the property line into your site. So they have to maintain, as of right now with the fence, they'd have to maintain at least a 15-foot area that's not paved, like they're showing it right here. So you got your fence. The fence, if the fence is on the property line, then you have 15 feet. Now, the fence could be in the middle of there somewhere. You may have some area that is still your property, although it's outside the fence. But yeah, Mike's doing a quick measurement right here. It looks like about 27 feet from roughly where the fence is to the property, or I'm sorry, the pavement line. So I'm not sure I'm answering your question or not. But,
you are, but
okay.
now the tree, am I seeing trees already planted?
Yes, on this right here you are. Yeah, those trees on the inside of the fence, those are trees that are existing. Now, this is about a year-old photo. I mean, I guess they're still there, but from what Ms. Krueger was saying, you know, they have issues with some of these, keeping them able to grow and whatnot.
But, so is that, you're saying that's not enough, if those trees are still there, for example, you're saying that's not enough trees?
I think what I'm saying is what they're asking for is they'd like to encroach into the buffer. You know, they want to be able to pave a little extra area so that they can have 10 feet as opposed to a 15-foot requirement. Now, the trees in and of themselves, I mean, yeah, I mean, without going back and counting every single one, they look like there's enough based on what the regulations are. But again, without going out and counting, I couldn't say for sure. Yeah, now, is it going to have to be anything as thick? If they were to add more plantings, would it be anything as thick as what Mr. Helms had placed? It probably isn't that to that level as far as even if there wasn't a fence there. I mean, he was able to do that on his property, which I think is great. They can't count that as part of their buffer because it's not on their property. So the whole purpose, and I understand what Ms. Krueger is saying, but the whole purpose of landscape screening with a fence or without a fence is to soften the impact from a commercial establishment to a next-door residential establishment. That's the whole purpose of having the trees. I understand they may not grow very well where she is, but to just say, I'd rather not put anything there because they're not going to grow. I personally would like to see a more detailed analysis as far as what can and what can't grow before saying, okay, if you're going to have a reduced setback here and just not any more additional plantings or anything, then, you know, we're going to reduce this and just kind of hope for the best. That's kind of the approach that almost sounds like to me.
So she's wanting to pave, that 27 feet, she's wanting to pave part of that.
You can see right there, Mike's kind of circling, it's about 10 feet, basically. It looks like it might widen a little bit as you're going toward the west there, toward Baltimore. I don't know if that was intentional or that was just the way it was drawn, but they're looking for reduced space along that entire property line there that Mike's highlighting.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion or a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question. Mike, can you go back to that parking map where we're talking about extending parking? One thought that I have, what is the current height of the privacy fence right there on the applicant's side?
I believe she said it was a 6-foot fence. Is that correct? Yeah, they're nodding. It's 6 foot.
So I'm thinking about RVs. If we're extending that, it's not just going to be boats, which are lower than that privacy fence, but maybe an RV camper with the air conditioning unit. My new neighbor here just informed me that we're looking at 12 feet at least. So can we, if we increase the height of that privacy fence to block potential things that they're going to be storing there? Does that mean, can we pick and choose, or do we have to approve their PUD based on what they're saying?
No, I think you have the ability to place reasonable conditions within the planned development and to help offset any impacts from the development as it's being proposed. I think adding additional height to a fence would be appropriate. That would be an appropriate condition if that's one you wanted to put in there.
I know where my business is located, they put in a concrete type privacy fence, a sound fence. It's pretty high. So I think that it would be reasonable if we're going to encroach further on the residential area that's surrounding this, is that we would limit the impact, visual impact, as well as lighting, which I think we've talked about a lot. So I would say that for me personally, if we're going to go into that buffer area, that we would need to raise that privacy fence up. And I don't know what a reasonable height would be, but a minimum of 12 feet. Maybe codes or somebody could help on that.
Well, I was about to say, Tanya, is there when it comes to fence height, if it gets to a certain height, is there requirements as far as the foundation or anything like that you could help with?
Well, it's definitely going to depend on what material they use, for sure. A block wall or some sort of masonry wall would be much, much better when you get to that height rather than a wooden fence.
So I think that would be, for me personally, that would be my condition, is that if we're going to extend parking in that area, which is going to increase the chances of larger vehicles being parked back there on a permanent basis, that would be one restriction that I would like included in whatever motion someone may make, as well as restricting the proposed buildings in the middle to not exceed the height of what's there now.
Would that be just where it abuts the residential? Because the lot.
I mean, that's typically where buffering it takes place, correct? So, I mean, that's really kind of up to you. I think Mike is showing it. Mike, is that the Deer Run side? Is what you're looking at? Yeah. So you're looking at it from Deer Run looking into the facility. So if you wanted to, that could be along that entire property line. It could be just along, I guess that'd be the southern property, with those properties immediately adjacent, not to Deer Run or not to Baltimore. You could do that. I mean, it's really kind of up to you how you want to structure that.
For what was in Mr. Beavers, what was in my brain is just where that parking, that line with the parking. I don't want to place any unreasonable burdens, but I do think it's reasonable that where they're asking for more, that they be required to give a little more as well.
Mike, are there any drainage concerns, ditch, anything in that setback that we're talking about encroaching on?
No, I think most everything's draining towards Franklin Road, and that would be one of the things that we would have them look at when they submitted a site plan is, are these existing ponds sufficient to handle the additional impervious area? So we would look at that.
One thought that I would give is, in that space, I've before had to build a berm to increase height, but to give the plants, the trees, bushes, whatever is allowed there, to give it some increased height, but that would also give it the soil to grow. I'm with Mr. Thompson. I would not want trees, but if we can suggest some nice evergreens.
Yeah, I think for me, if they found it more feasible to build a berm and then put a 6-foot tall fence on top of that, my goal is that from the people in the residential side, the back side of that wouldn't be able to see a lot more than what they're seeing now.
So with the berm, you want slope stability.
Sure.
But, so.
There may not be enough space there, yeah.
With a 6-foot tall berm, it's going to be extremely wide. And
Correct, that's why.
They're asking for 10 foot to reduce that green area from 25 to 10 foot, so.
That might change your whole drainage too.
I wasn't trying to suggest a 6-foot berm. I was thinking 3 or 4 to give the plants just some soil.
Right. And that would work, yes.
Let me tell you from a storage experience, I'm going to give you a little education here. 13 foot 6 inches is allowed with a fifth wheel going down the highway. So you're capable of parking a fifth wheel at 13 foot 6 inches on that asphalt. If you're asking me to put up a fence, it may change the entire way I'd want to design this project for me. It may be that I don't want to park anything back there, and I'll put the backs of the additional storages just like the other storage that you can see there now. If you wheel it back, you can see how high that storage is. Now, the only other option that I'd see that I could work with and it wouldn't break the bank in as far as paying is do similar if you've been to Mount Juliet and seen their baseball field, the way they've shielded it. They put beams in the ground and they put basically a metal, much similar to what you see on those buildings all the way across. They can go 15, 20 feet up, something that the wind's not going to, it's wind capable. But I don't think where we're heading is going to give enough direction, Doug, unless you can help us here to get the flexibility for. I'm all for them being able to get the house tore down and put more storage, but we're going to tie the hands. You'd tie my hands if I was the person that's going to have to tell you that, yeah, I'm going to put up a berm or I'm going to do all of that because of the expense. But if I can come in and put up a retaining similar facade as that storage all the way down through there so my campers wouldn't be seen or whatever I'm parking back through there. But seriously, you can have one as tall as 13 foot 6 inches to the top of the air conditioner. I can tell you, I pull one all the time, and you don't want to go under a bridge wondering, is this a 10 foot or 12 foot? You want to make sure that sucker's 14 foot when you go under. So, Doug, what would be the appropriate way to handle this? Because we're talking about cost for the storage owner to put up a fence or whatever. Can this be approved with those details worked out with you if they decide they want to redesign this so they would not be able to see those units?
Well, to answer your question, could that be a condition of approval? Yes. Another option would be, now that they've heard the input from the Planning Commission, now you would have to get their permission, if this is okay. Now, you do have the ability, but you could defer action on this. This has already been something that's been kind of, going back and forth for a little while, at least amongst staff. Really hasn't come to the Planning Commission yet. It was going to, then it was pulled off the agenda kind of last minute last year to try to get a handle on some things. But that is an option. I personally would feel better, rather than us trying to solve this on the fly, is to talk with the applicant and say, look, maybe take 30 days, come back. That'd give her the opportunity and her development team to come back and say, okay, how about this for proposals? You might talk to some of the neighbors too. Mr. Helms, who's the one that's probably most directly impacted by this, maybe get with him to come to some kind of something that they can both live with, kind of a thing. I like the idea that Shannon was talking about as far as a berm. I realize that might not be practical in this situation, just because you're dealing with existing structures, existing property lines, fences, existing trees. Obviously, you don't want to do something that's going to impact the tree line that's already there, especially on the neighbor's side. Not that they would get over on that side, but still, you know, you've got root zones and roots to worry about on things, so you want to always be careful with that. But that's a suggestion from me. I mean, could you do it? Yes. Another option would be to defer action to allow them more time to come up with something, bring it back at that point. That way, everybody's on the same page. That way, we don't, if you were to approve it subject to staff comments and us working this out, we get to the county commission, we think, well, we think this is okay, and then the 4 commissioners who were on the county commission, well, that's not what we thought, and then it's, you know, that could
Based on that, Doug, it helped me. That U-Haul that I'm seeing there on this picture, it looks like a U-Haul maybe right there. Yeah, that's a pole that's got a transformer, looks like setting on it. And when the meeting's over, I'll share with y'all some pictures of my personal, that trees are not 20 years old, that would be a threat to that anywhere parked from the gravel on this side all the way to that U-Haul. My trees would be an issue for that pole right there today. So I'm gonna move that we defer this and give y'all time to discuss.
Second.
Have a motion, a second to defer. Further discussion? Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Jason Beavers.
Yes.
Lee Bogle.
Yes.
Amber Brown. Yes. Trey Gooch.
Yes.
Shannon Hicks. Mike Cush.
Yes.
Jeff Phillips.
Yes.
Michael Shirley.
Yes.
Jim Thompson. Pettis Reed.
Yes,
Motion carries.
it has been deferred.
Mr. Chairman, can I spitball a couple ideas really quickly? Mike, can you go back to that previous slide you had up that showed the 2 U-Hauls?
The 2 what?
The U-Haul trucks on the side there. So I'm just thinking out loud here. You know, one way to address this is, hey, we approve the house demo and the buildings A and B with the height restriction, and not approve the encroachment on the buffer with the additional parking spots. That's one way to skin that cat. The other is you could limit the RV storage, which is where your height critical component comes in, or move the RV storage down to a far corner and limit that to, you know, pick a number, a dozen slots, and for those dozen slots, you put a 10 or 12 foot tall fence or barrier, and then the remaining stretch down the far lane and then up where the parallel is, you can limit that to boat and car storage that doesn't have the height restriction. So that's just a couple of thoughts I wanted to throw out for this group to be thinking about. There's a couple of ways to I think, achieve what you want, but getting with the neighbor certainly and working those ideas out are certainly the most critical part.
And are we worried about what it looks like backing up to the
Well, the properties are zoned residentially. What do you?
commercial one right here?
I'm sorry?
Even the one operating as commercial?
I think it's zoned residentially. And the one man who spoke bought that property, so if it had been used commercially at one point, I don't think it is anymore. Yeah, he's shaking his head, it's not. So I don't think that's zoned commercially.
I'd echo what Mike said. That's really, I'm thinking if we take a time out and there's buildings all the way across the back of that for storage, nothing can be seen but the back of the building, then that might be a solution. I just don't know that tonight's good night to try to work all that out tonight.
All right, appreciate your ideas there on the end. We'll leave this to the applicant, what they're wanting to do. They've heard what's been said here. We'll leave that to their decisions and where we go from there. We'll now in staff reports and other business. Mr. DeMasi.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. Just really one item I kind of want to discuss with you. I think everybody in here is aware that the County Commission took up the public hearing for the adoption of from the County Commission of Plan Rutherford at their January 22nd special meeting. As you recall, there was a public hearing, a fairly lengthy public hearing. Quite a few people spoke. There were those who spoke, had concerns. There were several that spoke that were in favor of it. Ultimately, the county commission voted to send the plan back with an amendment request to look at the rural living area. As you recall, that was the area that had a density range anywhere from 1 unit per acre to 1 unit per 5 acres. The request is that we look at, the Planning Commission, we look at changing that from, instead of 1 unit on the high side as far as density goes, 1 unit per acre, would be 2 units per acre. So the way the state law reads, the County Commission could not make that change on the floor. They have to send it back to the Planning Commission for your consideration. So the Planning Commission has 61 days from written notification, which Mr. Christensen and I have discussed as we feel would be from the approval of the minutes. And Nick, correct me if I'm wrong in that, but I believe that's what we had talked about, was the approval of the minutes from that meeting, which I'm guessing is going to be later this week. So we'll have 61 days to either make that change or to send it back to them saying, no, it's not going to be changed. So my recommendation at this point, at least, we don't want to have we don't have to have that discussion tonight. I'm not suggesting we do that. But I think at the next meeting that we have, our day meeting coming up here on February the 23rd, I think we should include that as an agenda item to have some further discussion on the direction that the Plan Commission would like to go. I'm going to turn it over to Nick here if he's got any other comments here in just a minute. As we understand it, if no change is made, I don't believe that another public hearing would be necessary at that point. If there is any kind of a change that is made, I do think that at that point there has to be another public hearing at the Planning Commission with a 30-day notice, and then back to the County Commission with that change, probably with another public hearing with a 30-day notice. So there's a little bit of time built in to the equation here. Nick, have I pretty much covered that pretty well? Okay, very good. So that would be our recommendation, is to just include this as an agenda item on our next regular meeting and to have further discussion at that time. And I'll be happy to answer questions.
Is that agreeable plan, Commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. One thing that we heard, or one thing that I heard at the county commission level was that people didn't feel that some people didn't feel that there was enough public notice. I would request that we ask the mayor's office to, I see that they do press releases, and especially on the Rutherford County's web, like the Facebook page. I would request that they make an announcement, if we're going to put it on our next meeting, which is a day meeting, that they make an announcement to let people know that we're going to be talking about it in case they want to sign up for public comment. Obviously, if we do decide to make a change, we're going to have to do that at the next meeting, the night meeting, which again, we can, well, actually we'll have to
Well, it'll have to be a 30-day, right, it'll be a 30-day notice.
Yeah.
It would have to be, just for the sake of argument, say you wanted to make a change, at the earliest would be looking at April at that point.
I do think that some people can't make morning meetings, some people can't make evening meetings, but I do think it would be prudent to ask the mayor's office to release, have a media release or something that says that we're going to be talking about this. This is another opportunity that they can share their feedback with us before we talk about this some more.
Would that require an additional public notice as far as anything, or just what he's saying would be adequate? You think?
Yeah, I think what I understand Mr. Shirley is saying is not doing a formal legal notice, but instead putting something on Facebook or disseminating it that way in alternative channels.
Okay.
I would trust our chairman to work with the mayor's public information officer to draft that statement to the public that we're going to be talking about this again. So to give them an opportunity to sign up for public comment or to communicate with us individually and share their thoughts.
And we can, as staff, we can help draft something up to start, and then I can kind of forward that to Mr. Reed for his consideration. Nick, if you wanted to look at it, I could forward it your way, and then we could get it to the mayor's office, like you said, with Ms. Kay to talk with her about it.
Thank you.
No problem. We've been transparent for 4.5 years. We're not going to stop now. So be glad to do that and send it on forward. Anything else?
That's all I had, Mike. Did you have anything?
So everybody satisfied? The next meeting, We'll have somewhat of a work session.
That's assuming that we don't have another winter storm, ice storm or anything. Hopefully that won't happen again, so.
Well, we have no control over that.
No.
And please don't blame that one on me, so. All right, anything else, sir?
No, sir, I don't have anything else.
If that's it, we are adjourned.